Welcome to the Reality of Herbal Therapy podcast. Okay, so for today's episode, I kind of wanted to talk about the top 5. A lot of times when I talk with people, they always ask that question, what are your top 5 products? They ask like by sales or by how much people use, and so kind of an interesting question, so I thought I'd answer it on this podcast, kind of share with you like the top 5 products, what they are, what they're used for, and why they're kind of like the top 5. So there's a couple ways I want to talk about it. So I figured I'd go in alphabetical order instead of by sales. So I kind of want to go in order by like how much we sell, which ones sell the most, which ones, So our number one seller right now is Fection. So in the last few years, Fection has really become like the biggest seller that we have. Basically, what Fection does is it helps your lymphatic system cleanse out. It gives your body what it needs so that it can fight off infection, fight off viruses. It helps clean mold out of the body. So it's a very, very useful formula, and it's a very common formula, especially with back to school, getting back into school. We have a lot of school teachers that take one Fection a day because they're constantly exposed to, a classroom of 30 kids and different things that come and go. So one Fection really helps them stay on top of it and not get whatever's floating through the classroom. Fection is really wonderful to, if you have gotten something, taking a higher dose of it to kind of like kick it and get rid of it. So it helps with like anytime you have an infection, or if your body's kind of weakened, Fection is what we go to for that. So let's talk a little bit about the herbs that are in Fection. So Fection, the two main herbs that a lot of people will use to help strengthen the body are Echinacea and Goldenseal. Both of those are very strong tonics for the immune system. They have a lot of the building blocks that the immune system needs. So Echinacea or Fection also has Oregon Grape Root in it, which Oregon Grape Root is fairly similar to Goldenseal in that it does a lot of the same things that Goldenseal does, but it can be a little different. So if you've built up a tolerance to Goldenseal by adding Oregon Grape Root into it, it helps the two of them work together. They're sort of like they work hand in hand. So Fection also has Burdock Root. Burdock is a really wonderful tonic for the immune system, but it also helps to clean out the lymphatic system. Sage is also in Fection. Sage is a really wonderful herb. Basically, it has a lot of vitamin C in it, but it also has healing properties for the lymphatic, for the immune system. It really builds it and strengthens it. Ginger helps to speed up the metabolism, but it also helps to cleanse out the lymphatics, helps move the lymphatics. So the lymphatics, the only way that they drain or move is by us moving your head, moving your arms, moving your legs, things like that. Walking is an amazing way to get the lymphatics moving, and ginger will help speed up the cleansing process of that. And then it also has Astragalus Root. Astragalus Root is an amazing herb for the immune system. It's really powerful, helps clean it, but it also gives the immune system what it needs to be healthy and to function properly. So number 2 in our popular top 5 list is Bladney. Bladney is, for a lot of people, Bladney is a lifesaver. Bladney helps with anything to do with the bladder, the kidneys, the urinary tract. So there's basically Bladney helps with bladder infections, kidney stones, anything like that, anything that has to do with the kidneys and the bladder. So the thing about the kidneys is they're basically soaked in urine all day, and the blood, our blood flows through our kidneys, and the kidneys pull out all the impurities to discard them through our urine. So there's a lot of toxic load on the kidneys, and that toxic load can translate into stones or infection or anything like that. And the thing about the kidneys is it's a priority system. Because it's a priority system, they're going to pull nutrients from whatever it can around it. So a lot of times lower back aches, especially if it's off to the side and not along the spine, is a sign that your kidneys are weakened and they're pulling nutrients from the muscles. So it's something to pay attention to. So taking Bladney, because of the nutrients that it puts into that area of the body, can really help with like lower back pain. Like if you stretch and there's like a twinge back there, Bladney quite often will help with that. So the way Bladney really helps with kidney stones is amongst the herbs that's in it, it's got parsley. One of the really great things about parsley is that it helps to wear off the spikes on a kidney stone. A kidney stone is basically it's like a spiked ball, and so when it has to pass through the tubes and everything in the kidneys, basically those spikes catch on that and they tear it open, and that's where the pain comes from. Quite often you get the bleeding because it's ripped open your kidneys as it's trying to move through. So parsley helps to wear those spikes down. Corn silk is also another one that really helps to wear down the spikes on kidney stones. So Bladney also has cleavers, grape root, and uva ursi, and those three herbs in combination have they give the kidneys and the bladder a lot of the nutrients that they need to be healthy, but they also help strengthen the area to make it more resilient to infection. So sometimes if you go to the doctor and you're having painful urination and frequent urination, and so they do a test and they look and they say, well, you don't really have an infection. Basically there is a line that they're looking at. There's a certain amount of white blood cells in the urine that show that there's an infection. And if you're not that high, then they say, well, you don't have a kidney infection or a bladder infection. There's still infection there, and your body's still fighting it. So Bladney will make a huge difference. Bladney also helps with prostate, enlarged prostate. It will also help if you're struggling with frequent urination. It will help make that to where it's not so frequent. It also helps with incontinence, where kind of a dribble after you urinate or something like that. Bladney will help with that. The other herbs in Bladney are juniper berry, which is a wonderful tonic for the kidneys and the bladder. It's got a lot of nutrients to help make your kidneys and your bladder healthy and help it function properly. And then there's also marshmallow root. So the reason marshmallow root's in Bladney is because it's very soothing to the organs. So uva ursi, cleavers, corn silk, those tend to go straight to the kidneys and the bladder. So by mixing marshmallow root with that, the marshmallow root is tagged to those herbs that are going to the kidneys, and so the marshmallow root gets tagged along and taken to the kidneys, where it then soothes the muscles. It's very soothing and helps out a lot with pain or discomfort. So that's why that's in Bladney. So our next on the list of our top 5, tissue mend. When people talk to us about the formulas that change their life, tissue mend is one that usually does. In fact, I had a customer in here this last week who said she wanted to get back on tissue mend, but she quit taking it because she works at a salon and her fingernails were so thick she couldn't cut them. So tissue mend basically helps thicken up and strengthen the fingernails. It makes your hair thicker and fuller and stronger. The reason tissue mend was made was for breaks and sprains. When you break a bone or something like that, that's what tissue mend was designed for. We had a customer that she had broken a bone, and she went to the doctor, and the doctor told her she had to stay off of it for 6 weeks. And after 3 weeks, she went back to the doctor, and basically the break was almost completely healed. The doctor was quite surprised at how quickly she'd healed. Well, she had been taking tissue mend, and it healed it really, really fast. So tissue mend is really, really amazing for anything that has to do with tissues, muscles, bones, anything that you need to make them healthy. Basically, it's got all the nutrients that our bodies need for make bones and things healthy. It's got nettle leaf, shave grass, chickweed, kelp, fennel, alfalfa. And it's a really, really wonderful formula for any time you need to have any repairs done with your body. If you've got thin skin that tears easy, tissue mend will help. If you've got any broken bones, a sprain, tissue mend will help. And the nice thing about tissue mend is it's very taggable. So like if you have something wrong with your bladder or kidneys, taking tissue mend along with Bladney will help. If you got any joint issues, taking tissue mend along with arthritis, it'll go to the joints and it'll really help. So tissue mend is an amazing formula, and that's why it's in the top 5. A lot of chiropractors really, really like it, simply because, a chiropractor tends to see people after they've been in an accident or something like that, and they need that to rebuild the bones or the muscle. And it also helps, like if you're working out, going to the gym and stuff, taking tissue mend, like some people will do a protein shake before a workout to help their muscles build faster. Tissue mend actually will do the same thing, and sometimes it even does it faster than some of those shakes. So tissue mend is just really, really amazing. So the next formula I want to talk about in our top 5 is our Hayaz. Hayaz was one of the first formulas that Dr. James made when he started learning about herbology and using herbs for health. So the Hayaz, there's 2 different forms of it. We have what we call Hayaz Extra Strength, and that's the one that Dr. James first developed to help him deal with his allergies. He was in Oregon and was really, really struggling with allergies. And so he came up with the formula Hayaz to help him deal with his allergies, which is really funny because I lived in Oregon for 4 years, and my allergies were nothing as compared to what they are when I'm in New Mexico. I'm always stuffy and drainage and just sneezing and everything. So Hayaz is amazing for any upper respiratory issue, any ear, nose, throat, anything like that, anything with sinuses or drainages in the nose or down the throat. Hayaz will help with it. If it's seasonal allergy thing, something's in bloom and it's just making your nose drip like crazy and you're sneezing and your eyes are constantly watering, you want to take 4 capsules every half hour until all of the irritation stops. You want to get on top of it. I had somebody come in, and because we have the sheet that says like how much to take mild, for how many capsules to take if it's mild, moderate, or severe. And so for severe on Hayaz is this huge number. And he's like, do I take them all at once? And I was like, no. You want to take just a few capsules, 3 or 4, every half hour until you get relief from your allergies. And then as soon as the symptoms begin to come back, take some more. So you're wanting to build up your resistance to the allergies. Hayaz is amazing for that. So the last formula on our list of top 5 is our nerquilizer. Dr. James says the name nerquilizer is a combination of nerves and tranquilizer. So nerquilizer has skullcap, valerian root, hops, gentian, rosemary. So the reason nerquilizer is so one of our top 5 is anytime you have any stress or nervous issue, nerquilizer is the formula that we use. We had a salesman come into the office one time, and we didn't even buy what he was offering, but Dr. James's daughter Jessica was there, and she says, "You look really, really stressed. Here, take a couple of these, they'll help." And so he took some nerquilizer and then went off on his route, and he came back a half hour later and he's like, "I need some more. That just changed my world." Nerquilizer will change your world. If you can't cope with the situation you're in, like if there's something going on and you have to cope with it, but it's just like, stick me on my couch, let me have a pile of blankies on top of me and my TV remote, that's when you want to take some nerquilizer. It'll make it so you can cope with the situation, but also be there for whatever the situation is. Nerquilizer is amazing to help deal with stresses, anxiety, but it also helps with any nerve degradation kind of thing. So we have people ask quite often, like, what to do for when they have like Parkinson's and Alzheimer's and those other degenerative diseases. So anytime you have any nerve issue, anything with being anxious, nervous, anything like that, nerquilizer helps. Also insomnia. I just remembered insomnia. A lot of people don't know why they have insomnia, that they can't, for whatever reason. Just taking 2 nerquilizer half hour before you go to bed will kick it, and you'll get a really good night's sleep. So those are the top 5 herbs, top 5 formulas that we have. I hope it's answered some of your questions. Go ahead and subscribe, follow us on your favorite podcasting platform. We're on Apple Podcasts, YouTube, Spotify. Try to get on anyone that I can. So thanks for listening in, and we will talk to you next time.
It is not the intent of professional herbal instruction or any persons associated therewith to diagnose or prescribe. The intent is only to offer herbal information for your consideration. In the event you use this information without your doctor's approval, you are prescribing for yourself, which is your God-given right. But professional herbal instruction or any persons associated herewith assume no responsibility. The claims and statements made on this podcast have not been evaluated by the Food and Drug Administration. These products are not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease.